Hi everyone, hope you're having a lovely day. Isn't it just great news that we're going to be getting back to school next Monday? I can't wait to get back to the classroom and to see all of you. And in the meantime, we have a couple more days of home schooling to do. So let's get started with this story. So this story is called Hansel and Gretel. So that is the title of this book. And this story is a fairy tale. And a fairy tale is a story that's been told over hundreds of years. And you can tell different versions of the story. You can tell different versions of a fairy tale. So everybody tells fairy tales a little bit differently, but they're very, very famous stories. So you might know this story already. And this particular book was written by Amanda Askew. And the illustrator of this book is Andy Hartley. So let's get started. Once upon a time, Hansel and Gretel lived in a tiny cottage with their father, a poor woodcutter, and their cruel stepmother. There are too many mouths to feed, their stepmother told the woodcutter. Take the children miles from home, so far that they can never find their way back. Overhearing the conversation, Hansel slipped out of the house, filled his pockets with pebbles, and went back to bed. All night long the woodcutter's wife went on at her husband. The next day he led Hansel and Gretel away into the forest. As they walked through the trees, Hansel dropped the pebbles here and there. Suddenly the children found themselves alone as the woodcutter slipped away. Gretel began to sob bitterly. "Don't cry, I'll take you home, even if father doesn't come back for us." Luckily the moon was full that night, and the pebbles gleamed in the moonlight. The children found their way home and crept through a half-open window without wakening their parents. When their stepmother discovered that Hansel and Gretel had returned, she was mad. She kept Hansel and Gretel under lock and key all day with only a sip of water, stale bread. Sounds very mean. When dawn came, the woodcutter led the children out into the forest once again. Hansel, however, had not eaten his bread, and as he walked through the trees, he left a trail of breadcrumbs to mark the way. Very clever. Again the children found themselves alone. "Don't worry, I've left a trail like last time," Hansel whispered to Gretel. Sadly, the little boy had forgotten about the hungry animals in the forest. In no time at all, the crumbs had all been eaten. When dawn broke, they wandered through the forest. On and on they walked, till they came upon a strange cottage. "This is chocolate," gasped Hansel as he broke a lump of plaster from the wall. "And this is icing," exclaimed Gretel, putting a piece of pillar in her mouth. Starving but delighted, the children began to eat pieces of the cottage. Quietly the biscuit door swung open. There stood an old woman. "Well, well," said the old woman, peering at them, "haven't you children got a sweet tooth? Come in and eat what you wish." Unluckily for Hansel and Gretel, the sweetie cottage belonged to a witch. They had fallen into her trap. "You're nothing but skin and bones," cried the witch, locking Hansel into a cage. "I shall fatten you up and eat you." "You will do the housework," she told Gretel. "Then I'll make a meal of you too." Oh no, how are they going to get away? Each day the witch would feel Hansel's finger. The witch had poor eyesight, so he held out a chicken bone. "Too thin," she complained. "When will you become plump?" One day the witch grew tired of waiting. "Light the oven," she told Gretel. "We're going to have a roasted boy today." Oh no! When the witch bent down to see if the oven was hot enough, Gretel gave her a tremendous push and slammed the oven door. Free at last, the children stayed at the cottage, eating sweets. After a few days they found a huge chocolate egg filled with gold coins. "The witch is now burned to a cinder," said Hansel. "We'll take the treasure home with us to father." They set off into the forest, and on the second day they found their way home. Their wicked stepmother left in disgust, so Hansel, Gretel, and their father lived happily ever. Now, what did you think of that story, boys and girls? You might have heard it before, because some of the fairy tales can be very, very famous, and Hansel and Gretel is a very famous one. Which was your favorite character? Character is one of the people who feature in the book. So the different characters in this book were Hansel and Gretel, the wicked stepmother, the father, and the witch. Which was your favorite? And why was it your favorite? Maybe you could talk to your mummy or daddy or whoever's with you now about why that character was your favorite one. And also maybe you could have a think about which was your least favorite character. Which did you not like? And why did you not like them? Lots of things to think about in that book. Have a lovely day, boys and girls. Can't wait to see you really soon.